What's up? What's up? Back again, video 75. Today's video is called Wizarding for a World Based on Love. Imagine such a thing. Could be pretty cool, I think. And I'm here to explain why. We all know what's going on in our world right now. It's all pretty fucked up. And people are cut off from each other. And it seems to me, and I'm not the first one to say this, but I agree with this assessment that I've heard from many wise people, is that a big part of the slavery system of world economic exploitation and global techno-fascism that we live under right now, a big part of it is divide and conquer, okay? And we know, as we've covered many times already in these videos, the divine power of creation is within humans, and mainly it's when men and women cooperate. So look at our society and what we have now. In the techno-fascist cult that we live in right now, reality is mitigated by big tech companies and think tanks and these so-called NGOs, which are owned by billionaires, and they own the universities, and they come in and program everyone with a 100-year plan. And what we're seeing now has been underway for at least 100 years. And a massive part of that is dividing males from females and making a fight. And look how polarized it is right now. Like, I live in a college town, so I see a lot of young people, and I see how polarized the males and females are, and like how they look at the world and what they see as valuable to do with their time, which is basically they're going to get educated, so they find out the best way to do this is by spending hundreds of dollars on alcohol every weekend to destroy your fragile brain in its most fragile developmental state of trying to become educated. Everyone poisons their brains with alcohol. So that's just an interesting aside. Well, I mean, yeah, there's lots of date rapes and stuff going on with that as well, which is, as again, I'm saying, defiling the creative divine power of males and females. It's not an accident. Okay, what do you think frats are about? Oh my God, if fraternities aren't some kind of bizarre sex cult, I don't know what is, dude. Are you kidding me? I don't even want to describe the things that I've seen and heard about it, but this goes back to the ancient world. All these frats, why they call them the Greeks and everything now, all these Greek letters and whatnot. This goes all the way back to ancient times, and it was a sex cult back then, and it's a sex cult now. But it's, I mean, religion is properly a sex cult because it relates to the creation of reality, and that's what sex is. But it can go two ways. You can go Babylon way, right, where it's division and using sexual frustration to drive the economy and to enslave everyone, you know? Or you can go the righteous way, and what that does is it reveals the divine creative power that all human beings have. But as I say, in particular, it relates to the cooperation of males and females, right? They got to work together. They got to have a common vision for the future, and they have to each contribute, right? So, okay, let's look at some of the numbers. I love to get into numbers, right? So we're talking about 3773, right? So 37 is the number of Chokhmah, and it means wisdom in Hebrew, right? It's the second Sephirah, number 2, right? So then we did video 74, which was the last one, and that was all about how male and females are working together. So 74 is a double 37. It's two wisdoms, the male wisdom and the female wisdom. And when those two combine, you get God. Imagine that. Anyways, I don't want to go all into that, but the point is to say we're dealing with this sacred feminine and masculine unity. That's the whole point of it all, okay? And I got some important new expansions, and I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to try to show the good side of it, but there's a warning, you know, there's a warning to it as well, because it can go either way. So that's what I'm going to tell, and I've experienced this in my life. So so first of all, declaring intent. I'm kind of late. I'm already 4.5 minutes in. Declaring intent for this video is to restore the balance of the life force for the entire world. Restore love, equality, mutual goals, harmonious society, freedom. Okay, that's why I teach magic and wizarding, because my religion is total freedom for everyone. And it can be messy. Like, people have the freedom, they can be free to do good or evil, right? But in order, right now, it exists in a world where only evil people believe in magic and use magic. And the neutrals, I don't really think there's that many good people, but the neutrals all believe there's no magic, and so they never develop it as a skill. So I'm teaching it to everyone because I want everyone to be free, because that's going to make my life better and happier. If I'm surrounded by a bunch of really free people, they're going to rebel against bullshit, and COVID will never ever happen. Nothing even close could ever happen if we lived in a free society. It's impossible. It's literally impossible, because they're using thought forms against us. They're using total ignorance of basic science on the part of the masses, you know, and they know that they can plant shit in people's minds and it'll manifest, and they're using it and we're not using it, and that's why everything's fucked up. So here we go. What we got here is the web of weird, and every tip is covered in a Wunjo. So what that does, and it brings bliss, unity, power, and prophecy to every single person, because a partnership of equals is always way more powerful than a dominance partnership. It's way more productive. In a dominance partnership, the parties are not, they're actually harmed by the presence of each other. You know, it's weird how that it works, but I want to give everyone bliss across the whole web of creation. So that's what I just did through magic, and I'm declaring intent to restore the balance and bring bliss to everyone so that no one tolerates oppression. And by everyone becoming free, I become free, because now everyone will help me to fight the fucking evil, and they'll know how, because I'm showing them to use your mind. It's a downstream causality, flows from the mind down into manifestation. The wealthy billionaires of the world know this, and they use it against us every day. And we're programmed from pre-birth with all their magic. So I'm giving you back the ancestral magic before the Babylon system took over and eradicated all my ancestors and their wisdom and try to destroy any memory of their existence. But luckily it didn't work, because I got Chokhmah, I got wisdom, and it works. So let me show you how this works. Now it's Valentine's Day. We all want to find love and better partnerships. Even if we already have a love relationship, we want to stoke it out and show our gratitude for it, and acknowledge its total centrality to happiness and good health and life itself. So we're going to do some more runes, and each one of these is gaining power. When I show it to you and I explain it to you, it's gaining power. So we're using this for healing the whole of humanity, friend and foe, beloved and reviled, above and below, live and dead, throughout space and time. I give it all to them. I give my mind, I give my time, I give my focus, I give the beauty within me. I give it for all of them. And this is an important part of what I'm trying to show everyone, is that we're taught that only money and this bullshit, gold and diamonds and stupid ass rings and necklaces and all this bullshit, that's what has value. But it's the opposite. The more you have to put that shit on yourself, you're covering an inner lack of any skill, any dignity, any value. And you're you know, covering yourself in whatever costumes and roles is put to you by society to try and pretend sexy. And that's not sexy. It's sad. It makes me want to cry. It's sad when I see that. It doesn't make me happy at all. What makes me happy is seeing other people's joy. That's great. Freedom. Freedom. If I see slavery, talk about a buzzkill. Talk about people that are slavish and they're parroting slave mentality. If anything's gonna wither your bliss, that's it right there. You could be charged up on life and ready to go, and you see someone acting like a slave, whatever sex drive or appeal may be there for you, just goes away. Because now you're sad. And now you're like, oh my God, this person's oppressed, and they're oppressing themselves. Terrible. Anyway, let's see, here we go. Now we're getting back to wisdom. Kanaz. Let's start with Kanaz. That's a wisdom rune, right? It looks just like that, just 2 lines. It looks like almost like a K, right? So if we take 2 of those, forward and backward, we get Ingus, and that's the seed. That's the divine seed combining male and female. Each one of those represents wisdom. Wisdom, they're shared. They share and they get Ingus. And Ingus is like a little seed. And it's like all our verbs, present tense verbs, end in ing, a walking, reading, something you're doing right now in the moment. It's a process of creation where male and female combine, okay? So that's sacred. It's the seed of life. It has 2 parts. It doesn't work if there's only one part. It's just a fire. just burns up everything. But if you combine two, that wisdom creates life. And so in the middle, we're going to put Manas. So that's the combined double joy. So we have two wisdoms and two joys combined. And it's a seed, so it's spreading out that pattern of combined joy and bliss. Now, I talked a little bit about this yesterday, but I want to go deeper, okay? So some of us can be frustrated. We can have unsatisfactory relationships, and we don't even know why we're in them. It's just out of habit sometimes, okay? But look at those two wunjos together, right? It's like a mirror image. It's like two people, or one person even, looking in a mirror. So our relationships are like a mirror, okay? And I can tell you throughout my life, I've had terrible fucking relationships, and it's because of my parents. That's how they had a bad relationship, and that was the pattern that got imprinted on me. And when I was young, I didn't have these tools of magic to reprogram myself, and so I followed their pattern, and it was fucking terrible. And I became attracted to women that had all the worst qualities of that, and it was a mirror of me. It was a mirror of my lack of discipline, my lack of self-control, and my lack of any depth. So superficial, you know. I'm like, oh, here's a girl. She's got rockin' tits and nice big hips. She looks like she'd make good babies. Then get down. Just go. I didn't study her character at all. But she was reflecting everything the worst of me. And the fact that I looked at her and found her a suitable sex partner, that's lesson. That's the goddess, okay? You got Kali and you got Sita. You know, Kali is death and doom and blood and fucking terror. She teaches you the way of pain. She teaches you the way of pain, and you grow by that pain. Unless you become amnesiac and you don't learn your lesson and you just keep going, then it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. But eventually, Kali will bring you your lesson and your wisdom through pain. Okay? Sita is the mother goddess. She's beautiful. She's gentle. She loves her husband. She loves Ram. She creates life with him. Suitable partnership, good partnership, teaching through the way of bliss. And that's what we're trying to get to, right? So I told that story of the bad side, the woman who you're attracted to her through lust, and you have sex, and the sex can even be good. It could be really pleasurable and passionate, right? But it's unstable, and it's created out of corruption. So everything it creates is just a multiplying of corruption. And so this is why they call it reproduction. Like when a man and woman come together, it's reproduction, whether they're having babies or not, okay? If you come to a woman with your flaws and your corruption and your bad decision making, she's going to reproduce that for you. And one problem is going to turn into a million fucking problems. And it's going to multiply, okay? If you bring a woman beauty, peace, joy, support, strength, noble character, wisdom, good decision making, she's going to multiply that for you, and she's going to motivate all your positive decisions. She's going to motivate your growth, your development, and your improvement, and your discovery of the power and magic of love that gives life to the entire universe. It's pretty fucking amazing. And only recently in my life have I even learned and experienced this. And so yesterday what I was saying is, if you're alone and you're having bad relationships, it's because of what's within you. It's your decision making, what you view as beautiful and what you view as attractive and acceptable and tolerable, even though you know it's flawed. Okay, I can only speak for myself here, but every single bad relationship I've been in, all the warning signs were there from day one. And I noticed them and I saw them and I willfully ignored them, and things got worse and worse and worse. But everything that I should have needed to know was there in the very beginning. And if I had paid attention and not let lust and desire and stupidity dominate my perceptions, I would have walked across the street and gone another way. And that's where we all at. So if you have unsatisfactory relationships, this is what you're looking at, what I just described. So I'm going to tell the opposite real quick, okay? If you see someone that's beautiful, that's expressing joy and bliss, and you see a person that's creating and they're giving good, loving, creative power, that inspires you. That captures your mind. So all you got to do is do that. Live your truth. Live the deepest beauty inside you. Live what gives you passion and love and joy and freedom and a sense of possibility for the future, like you're willing to create, like you want to create a beautiful future, and you're willing and confident, powerful, strong. You're not going to compromise if you're in those conditions mentally, because you're creating out of bliss, and you're going to attract bliss, and you're only going to choose and accept true bliss, true joy, true kindness. What you want to receive, first you give. That's the lesson today. Video 75, creating love and better